This was a scary situation, and Mr. Nearly came on. He was threatening. I'm 6'2", and he was taller than me, so it was. And there's a common misconception that Marines don't get scared. We're actually taught one of our core values is courage, and courage is not the absence of fear, but how you handle fear. And I was scared for myself, but I looked around. I saw women and children. He was yelling in their faces, saying these threats. I couldn't just sit still. Some people say that I was holding on to Mr. Nearly for 15 minutes. This is not true. I mean, between stops is only a couple minutes. So the whole interaction lasted less than 5 minutes. Some people say I was trying to choke him to death, which is also not true. I was trying to restrain him. You can see in the video, there's a clear rise and fall of his chest, indicating that he's breathing. I'm trying to restrain him from him being able to carry out the threats. And then some people say that this is about race, which is absolutely ridiculous. I didn't see a black man threatening passengers. I saw a man threatening passengers, a lot of whom were people of color. The man who helped restrain Mr. Nearly was a person of color. And then a few days after the incident, I read in the papers that a woman of color came out and called me a hero. I don't believe that I'm a hero, but she was one of those people that I was trying to protect.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about a story that seems to be repeating itself as we have another fatal subway incident involving a homeless man who allegedly was a threat, and then subsequently a hero stands up to the homeless man and ends the threat because the homeless man clearly was a threat of violence to passengers on the plane. Now, we all know that liberal cities like New York City are plagued with crime because the woke DAs have essentially allowed the criminals to take over these cities. Okay, and New York City has a serious homelessness problem, and it's especially bad in the subways. Okay, it is not safe to ride those subways because of the crime, the homelessness, the violence that goes on down there, while law-abiding citizens are just trying to use public transportation. It really is a damn shame that it's come to the point where you have to have law-abiding citizens stand up to criminals in order to stop violence. And that is what happened in this situation right here that a lot of people are comparing to the Jordan Neely, Daniel Penny situation that I saw as an act of self-defense, because I really do believe that Daniel Penny saw Jordan Neely as a potentially lethal and dangerous threat, considering the threats that he allegedly was making on that subway station, and that he felt the need to stop the threat. And I don't think that he actually intended to kill the guy. However, it is up to the criminal justice system to decide whether or not he's actually guilty of manslaughter, because he's been charged after woke activists cried racism over the fact that initially nothing happened to him, right? And they thought that, well, this is a white guy, he killed a black guy. Okay, even if it was in self-defense, even if he was defending other people, he must be arrested because this is evidence of a racist criminal justice system that allows white men to just get away with killing black folks, right? Again, they played up the race narrative and they forced mob justice, okay? But we have again, similar situation that's being compared to that, except this time the race is a little bit different, which is why you probably have not heard about this one yet. And this case involves another hero, a 20-year-old by the name of Jordan Williams, who unfortunately stabbed to death a homeless man out in a subway in Brooklyn after the homeless man allegedly punched a woman in the face and was yelling that he was going to erase someone. So basically he was threatening people's lives, and he ended up getting into a altercation with this young man right here on the subway station. And during the altercation, the fight, this young man ended up stabbing the homeless man to death, which, I mean, I could argue is self-defense. Okay, now again, it is up to the court of law to decide whether or not that use of force was justified. But in my opinion, I think that it was. I think that it's a shame that we live in a society where the government has failed so bad at protecting the people that law-abiding citizens have to stand up and eliminate criminals because the government has failed to take care of this issue. So law-abiding citizens have to step up and to do things that they don't want to do, and then they have to go through this, long trial process in the criminal justice system to prove that they were innocent in protecting other people, that they are actually heroes. Again, in this case, the homeless man, convict, felon, probably should be locked up. Failure on the criminal justice system that this person was on the subway in the first place. Unfortunately, this young man had to take matters into his own hands because, again, the government couldn't do their job. So I'm actually going to play a news clip so you guys get a better understanding of what's going on here, and then we're going to talk more about this situation. But first, I just want to let you guys know, if you like my channel and you want to support my channel, you can feel free to check out my merch. For example, my racist mug, which is a reminder of the 2023 definition of racist according to the left, which is anybody who disagrees with the Democrat Party, and also has my logo on the back as well too. You can check that out at my website, gforemanbcp.com. Get 20% off using discount code TEAMBCP. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll this clip, okay, this news clip, to give you guys a better understanding of what's going on here. But I want you guys to ignore the lawyer for Mr. Williams and his wokeness, because I don't want that to take away from the fact that this young man is a hero and he deserves an adequate legal defense, because he should not do a day in jail for what he felt like he had to do on the subway to protect people. So without further ado, roll the clip.
I'm Steve Lacey.
And I'm Natasha Berman. The attorney and family for the 20-year-old suspect, Jordan Williams, says he acted in self-defense. They say the person he stabbed had threatened other passengers and assaulted his girlfriend.
Fox 5's Linda Schmidt joins us live from Brooklyn Criminal Court, where the arraignment just wrapped up. Linda, what's the latest?
Yeah, hi there, Steve and Natasha. Well, first of all, when this incident happened on the subway, on the J train on Tuesday, some people immediately started making parallels between this incident and the one involving Daniel Penny, including the lawyer for Jordan Williams in this case. Now, he had said to reporters earlier today before court that his client was being treated differently, and he was making claims of racism because his client was arrested immediately after the incident on Tuesday, while Daniel Penny was arrested 2 weeks after the chokehold death of Jordan Neely. Now go ahead and take a look at this video here, because this is Jordan Williams. He is surrounded by his family as he left court today. Now, in the incident involving him on Tuesday, he had used a knife to stab DeVictor Udrogo in the chest. He says Udrogo got on the subway on Tuesday, was yelling and threatening riders, and then hit him and his girlfriend. That is when Williams says he stabbed him, killing him.
We spoke exclusively with one eyewitness by phone.
The guy who was sitting down across from that girl said, you need to chill, something to that effect. They exchanged words, 2 or 3, things back and forth, and then the guy who's standing up punched him really hard in the face. They start fighting. Everyone scatters.
Williams allegedly used deadly force deliberately in a fist fight. The witness told us Williams went too far.
It's certainly something he didn't start or would have probably been involved in if it weren't for, the guy who was killed being the aggressor. But you can't kill someone just because, they started a fight with you.
Again, the charge is manslaughter. Any additional charges, of course, will be up to a Brooklyn grand jury. Now, the victim has a criminal record that includes multiple arrests for robbery. He has no documented mental health history that we are aware of, and was unarmed.
Now, the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office had asked for $100,000 bail for Williams. By the way, that is the exact same bail that Daniel Penny has through the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. But in this case here in Brooklyn, the judge said no bail and released Williams. Now, his family, again, here supporting him today, and his lawyer, once again, had claimed to reporters that before court that there was a double standard here, that his client was being treated unfairly. But now he has changed his mind. Here's what he had to say and what Williams' mom had to say.
Well, I can walk that back. Look, I think him being charged right away and held was obviously different than how Mr. Penny was released and had a few weeks and then had to voluntarily surrender himself.
But do you think that was racist?
That was a big difference, but then we saw the difference today where they asked for the same amount that Daniel Penny's bail was, and this judge released my client. So I can't applaud the court system enough.
How Jordan was raised, his upbringing. I'm not tooting my own horn. However, his upbringing is what made him the wonderful young man that he is today. And he cares about life. He cares about the lives of others, yes. And he is extremely remorseful.
And another thing, his mother, who you just heard from there, April Williams, as well as Williams' aunt, they both said, look, this has nothing to do with Daniel Penny's case. There are no similarities. There are no parallels. The only thing that is the same is that it happened on a subway. They don't feel that their son was treated any differently.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Now, the only thing that saddens me about this case, besides the fact that this young man is actually having to go through trial, but again, that's just kind of how this works, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But it saddens me that he has a woke lawyer. Okay, I wish his lawyer wasn't woke. The mother started a legal defense fund, and I guess at some point she actually did come out and compare what happened to her son to Daniel Penny, and they did start a Give, Send, Go to raise money for his legal defense, in which I did give to this, despite the fact that the lawyer is woke. I really wish they would get another lawyer, but honestly, that doesn't matter as much as I hope that the guy is a good defense attorney and can make sure that this young man, this young hero, does not do a day in jail or is not found guilty of manslaughter because he defended people's lives, right? Because he eliminated a threat that assaulted him, that punched him and his girlfriend, or the woman on the train, the subway. Again, allegedly that was his girlfriend. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But regardless, this homeless man, who's, again, also has a long rap sheet of being a convicted felon, assaulted somebody on a subway. He made threats to their lives, and he ended up losing his life. Again, I don't think that the hero who stands up to these type of threats should see a day in jail for that. But there is an argument to be made that because this involved a death, somebody did die, that is up to the legal system to decide whether or not it was a justified act, And, it sucks that it's this way for what, in my opinion, appears to be law-abiding citizens revolting because, again, the government's not doing their job and doing what they feel like they have to do, not waiting till they find out if a homeless man or a criminal is going to kill him, right? Actually taking a threat seriously when a threat presents themselves as a threat and doing what they got to do. It sucks that they have to go through the legal system, but that's just how it is, right? It's really unfortunate. So again, you got people who have donated. The Tate brothers here, again, they've donated $5,000. Apparently this is them. So, again, this is signaling that people in this country, right, and abroad as well too, right, Tate brothers, they're fed up, right? Law-abiding citizens are fed up, and I guess you can still use the term law-abiding citizens for the Tate brothers too, but law-abiding citizens are fed up with the nonsense. And as you heard in the story, even the judge is fed up with the nonsense because the judge, when given the chance to give this man an equal bail as Daniel Penny, which would be $100,000, he decided, you know what? We know that he's not a threat to society, that basically he did the right thing. We're going to let him out on no bail, right? We're going to let him out on no bail, They're fed up with a progressive criminal justice / legal system that has incentivized crime, that has allowed criminals to take over these inner liberal cities. And because of the soft on crime criminal justice system, unfortunately, you have to have law-abiding citizens stand up and end somebody's life because these people are such a threat. They are terrorizing people on a daily basis on these subway systems. And what I find to be fascinating about this story is how the mainstream liberal media, there's not a frenzy, there's not a 24/7 coverage of this story because it doesn't fit the narrative, right? The person that committed the homicide is black, right? He's black, so therefore the liberal media doesn't see a race narrative here to be pushed. Therefore, they ignore it, right? So you don't hear all these people like AOC coming out the woodwork, boohoo, whining, and crying for this homeless man that lost his life and basically a somewhat similar fashion as Jordan Neely, except he was stabbed to death. Jordan Neely was choked to death. You don't see them coming out of the woodwork defending him, pretending like they care about his life, because again, there's nothing to be gained from it, right? There's no race narrative to push here, okay? It's not black versus white, in which the white man ended up taking a poor black man's life. No, that didn't happen, right? So because that didn't happen, again, these people are gonna know the story. They don't want to talk about it, right? All of a sudden, again, this guy's life not nearly as important because they can't grift off of it, okay? Again, it's just funny how that works. Meanwhile, people like myself and others will call sellouts and toms and, racial slurs because we defended Daniel Penny, right? They accused us of selling out black folks when it never was about race. What it actually really was about was the right to self-defense. What it was about is the fact that for too long in this country, we have been soft on criminals and have emboldened them to terrorize law-abiding citizens because the government has failed to keep them in check, to put them where they properly belong, which is in prison, okay? So what happens when law-abiding citizens are pushed to the edge? At some point, some law-abiding citizens are going to snap. They're going to do what they have to do when they are threatened, like Daniel Penny allegedly was, and like Jordan Williams allegedly was, okay? So, again, if the left truly cares about these people, which I'll tell you they don't, okay, because they never want to do anything about it, but if they actually really cared about these homeless people who are losing their lives, they should advocate for tougher on crime laws so that they can be locked up or put their money where their mouth is and actually, provide shelter for these people, okay, and provide the mental health that they claim they want to invest in so much for these homeless people and get them off the street. Institutionalize them, which is what Andrew Yang came out and proposed when he was running for mayor of New York City. But again, progressives attacked him and said that was inhumane for homeless people, right? To force them off the streets is inhumane, right? Because the humane thing to do is to allow them to terrorize law-abiding citizens until a law-abiding citizen snaps and has to end somebody's life. Again, the left is ass backwards. And when situations like this happen, it really goes to show you their hypocrisy on situations like this, that they only care if there's something politically to be gained out of it. If there's nothing politically to be gained out of it, i.e. there's no race narrative, they really don't give a damn about these homeless people. They could care less about this person, okay? You're not going to know this person's name like Jordan Neely's name because, again, he was killed by a black person, right? So his life don't matter that much, okay? And if this young black man would have lost his life on that subway system to this homeless man, his life would not have mattered either, right? Because, again, the left only cares when they can gain something out of it, when there's more division and hatred to be pushed in this country. But again, patriots stand up for law-abiding citizens regardless of identity. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.